Hi guys, Raynal here. Today we're gonna have fun and we will take a full evasion team into the arena featuring TB, Shadowlynx, and Black Witch Helena. This is a team that I've been using for the last week and honestly it performs very well. It actually beats a lot of the meta teams that I would expect defeats against. But evasion, yes, there is an RNG aspect to it, but it does kind of ignore the meta up to some point, as long as you don't fight people with too many guaranteed hit abilities. So as usual, I'll show you our loadout and abilities on off, and then we'll hop into some fights. So let's look at our team. We have TB with the Tetrasylphid and her own vision card for as much evasion as possible. It's the typical dodge TB, so Blade Soul, attack enhancement, and then a Sage's Hat for more evasion. Typical stuff. I'm running her as a Pugilist because we can get the illusion buff from Shadowlynx instead, and Pugilist just deals a crazy amount of damage. So these are her overall stats. For this build, abilities on off, I've turned off resistance field and armor deployment, and then in her Pugilist job, everything is on because they're all good abilities. Then we have Shadowlynx. She is a samurai for the evasion up buff and has Luel's TMR for the evasion up buff as well. And because we can't run a Sage's Hat as well as this TMR, we have a ribbon instead. Odin for as much damage as we can get. Eventually we'll get Chimera, who's a dark evasion oriented Esper, but until we have him, Odin is kind of my best choice. And then the Maiden's card for some luck up on her as well. These are her overall stats, so as you can tell, she's not resistant to magic and missile, so if we're running her against Frederica or mages, she can be in trouble if those mages have guaranteed hit abilities, especially since she has 97 faith to lend those blinds and stops. And then finally, we have Black Witch Helena. In our setup, she has Rain's TMR to give some extra spirit to our team. That's mainly to influence the survivability of TB, who still has 21 spirit. With Rain's buff, she goes to 46 spirit, which makes her, gives her the ability to tank 2 hits from mages. Then overall, Black Witch Helena has less magic when we're using Shiva, because we're giving up a little bit, but she still performs very well. And these are her overall stats. Abilities on off, I forgot for Shadowlynx, so let's go back there a little bit. In the Moon Haze job, I've turned off Shuriken, Hide, and that's it. I want her to use Dark Haze in priority and Shadow Tether, but sometimes she'll use Dream Within a Dream to use to break 3-hit barriers, so it's actually pretty good to keep on. And then in this sub job, I've turned off Yen. Basically, I've kept Illusion, Devotion, and Night Veil on because I want her to land blind, so that makes sense. And then these are extra buffs for her to use that do have some value for our team. So that's it for her. And then Black Witch Helena, the only ability that I've turned off is Dark. Everything else makes sense and she uses the right move when she wants, but I like turning off Dark so she uses Drain instead to finish off enemies. So that's our squad. So, King Mont, Yuna, Sakura. That might be a little bit tougher because King Mont is a tough nut to track. He's very tanky, and yes, we can deal damage to him and force Yuna to heal, but he's going to drain all the AP from Shadowlynx very early, and Shadowlynx does not have any defense penetration, so it's up to the other two to deal with him. Once King Mont goes down, then Shadowlynx becomes extremely useful. She can go after the other guys and deal a ton of damage, so she's still very useful, just not in the very early parts of the fight. So we get our important buffs off, revitalizes cast. Against King Mont, I should swap the TMR that TB has for Oldoa's TMR. That moves her defense penetration from 40% to 90%, which is very important. But right now she has more AP. I don't want to change it for every fight, but it would definitely be an upgrade for our team. So Sakura's casting some kind of buff, Dark Haze on King Mont, but I believe he's immune to blind. I've never seen Dark Haze proc, so it's really, he's a good counter to Shadowlynx, immune to the status effects she does, and has a ton of defense. Now Whirling Vortex almost takes out Sakura, but not quite enough, and King Mont does not have any chance of hitting, so he actually just decides to cast. So Smile Practice is cast, that's good, but then Sakura's going for, I'm pretty sure, Shadowlynx with the Unevadable Pain. Nope! Oh, maybe she's not a Kododama sub job and thus does not have any 100% hit ability. At least that's the only explanation I can see for her to not be using that. So she goes down, great, one enemy out. They're probably going to use full life, but I don't mind that very much, just because Sakura does not have an impact in this fight. And then while she's casting full life, she's not helping out anyone else. King Mont eventually even uses Revitalize because he can't hit anyone. That's an interesting turn of events. They keep being full life because, Yuna, Shadow Tether, not good against King Mont because, he has too much defense for it to matter that much. But Black Witch Helena is finally in range, and I'm pretty sure this is going to one-shot Yuna and deal 3/4 of King Mont's HP. Yep, there we go. So, one down, one to go, but he goes down. I think that's the first time Re-Raise comes in. Now, Sakura Shadowlynx might not be able to kill him, usually, but I'm pretty sure the Odin summon will actually do enough damage. Part of the reason why I'm putting Odin on her is because that summon is a really good late game move, and she seems to be using quite a bit. Okay, not enough damage. It does scale as a physical attack, so it is reduced by defense. So there we go, To Be finishes off the fight, and we end up winning this. Alright, now I'm curious to see how much our dodge will work against an enemy To Be, because she has a ton of luck at 427, so she might be able to reliably hit our team. I'm very curious to see the mirror matchup. And then King Mont and Black Witch, so they're very strong. Black Rose Helena has a 100% hit ability. With the spirit we have on To Be, I think To Be can take 2 hits from that ability, while because Shadowlynx is at 97 faith, she will take only 1 hit and then go down. So let's see just how that goes. If they land a couple hits in a row, we're just going to lose, especially since our team will be forced to focus on King Mont for a while. So it might not be the greatest matchup, but hey, what can I say? I'm curious to see it, so we'll try it. Wow, that is a very tanky King Mont with crazy buffs right from the get-go. But he did move forward far enough for Black Witch Helena to hit him early, so that might be good. Now, there To Be tried an attack, perfect evade, but the fact that she tries to attack means she has some hit chance. Was that 70% or 20%? I don't know, so hard to tell. Dark Haze on King Mont does not do much, and Black Witch can't reach yet. I'm kind of sad about that. I hoped she would attack the enemy team immediately. To Be can play and hit both the enemy characters, which is good, but misses the Impaler on the enemy To Be, even with our crazy luck. So, a miss for a miss, which is not great, and then they're casting this on... Okay, Impaler misses, but that's the guaranteed hit ability from Black Witch Helena, I'm pretty sure, so it's going to come in pretty soon. Let's see if that one-shots. No, it does not, so our To Be is resilient enough, and then Whirling Vortex takes out the enemy To Be. That's 1 threat down. I know that Black Witch Helena has many casts on her guaranteed hit ability, so she will have other chances to land it on us. But can she kill everyone? I don't think so. That's an AoE attack, misses Shadowlynx, and not enough damage to kill our own Black Witch, so that's good. But she has her barrier. She's going to be very hard to kill. Spirit Breaker, she's still alive. Damage distribution misses, fortunately, so she doesn't heal. And then we're going to finish her off with a Drain. So, pretty good fight overall. Our team did good there. Now, this one is really scary. They have extra accuracy up from the Black Rose card and 2 characters with guaranteed hit abilities, including one that's AoE. And then Garvall has Re-Raise on top. So I'm going in there expecting a defeat, but who knows? Maybe I'll be surprised. In order to win, what we need is for Garvall to overextend early in the fight and for our own Black Witch to kill him, I think. But I'm not sure that will happen. And then Sterne has some accuracy up buffs, so we might struggle with his attacks as well. And if they land too many hits in a row, we're just going to lose very quickly. So I guess we'll see. I'm pretty sure To Be can survive at least 1 Detonation Blast from Garvall, and then the second one will kill, or it'll be a combination of Detonation Blast followed by Black Witch Helena's guaranteed hit attack that takes her out. So for now, Garvall's not in range, but he has the Re-Raise, and he's coming into range from Shadowlynx. So Dark Haze doesn't land the blind. Not sure if he's resistant to that or not. Oh no, Darkened Focus on the entire enemy team, so that's more accuracy for all of them. Now that this has been cast, I think we're doomed, unless To Be can have a high value turn here, but I'm pretty sure she can only reach 2 people. There we go, and not enough damage to kill, but she does confuse one of them, so that's a win. We break another barrier on Garvall, and then he can't detonation blast 2 people, so he only hits 1. Shadowlynx finishes Ruined Sterne. Not the target I wanted her to hit, but hey. Black Rose's Hex misses, even though they have accuracy up buff and a vision card that gives accuracy up. So you can tell our evasion is pretty reliable. Garvall dies for the first time, and then can our Black Witch reach? She can, but only the enemy Helena. So we take one of them out, see how little damage that did. I'm pretty impressed by how resistant she is. And now the Spirit Up buff has expired, so Detonation Blast is enough to one-shot our 2B, but since we spread out so well, we still win the fight. Alright, now it's time to throw our win streak through the window and fight King Mont, Black Witch Helena, and Yuna, because I'm very, very curious. It's one of the first time I've seen King Mont with the Keenblade TMR for this map, so I'm curious to see how that goes. Will he rush forward earlier than the rest of his team and then put himself in danger, or will that actually enable a very powerful play in which Yuna drops her limit burst before he takes damage? I want to see that in action, so we'll fight it and then probably lose, but that's fine. So their Black Witch has the Grace of Eternal Friendship TMR. I think that's the best TMR for her. Like, we're using Reigns for a very specific reason in our build, but in 90% of the cases, I would use her own TMR. It's just so good. It has great stats and gives her a barrier, so you're not really losing out on anything. So they have a bunch of AoE buffs, that's very powerful. They even cast the accuracy up buff, so they are ready to hit us at every turn. But let's see what happens. Proclamation, so King Mont has hate now. I thought the enemy team would rush forward quickly, given their setup with Keenblade, but I guess they just run Keenblade to cast their buffs faster. For me, it's not as impressive anymore. I'm kind of just seeing a basic team that stays back and buff instead of something that goes in early. But let's see how they perform. To be can reach the enemy Yuna, and chooses the Annihilation Dance. Not a big fan of that. I wish she used Whirling Vortex just for the chance to confuse, but instead it's a one-shot, which is not that bad a trade-off. Guaranteed hit, so we lose Shadowlynx before she does anything, and then Black Witch Helena plays again, so she's going to move in to B. Spinning Slash misses, and then To Be gets a turn, but she's going to be hitting King Mont. With King Mont's position, Black Witch Helena on our team can hit her. To Be tanks the first Black Witch's Judgment. But can our Black Witch kill King Mont? No, she can't, so To Be will be forced to hit King Mont for yet another turn. For some reason, the enemy Black Witch Helena decides to group though, so that's really good for us. It might give our Black Witch a chance to kill the enemy Black Witch before anything else happens. So I think we just won off that, but I might be surprised, we'll see. Black Rose's Hex on both, and yup, both die. Did they have a re-raise remaining? No. Seems like we won. Pretty surprised by our squad there. So let's keep going. Rain, King Mont, and Black Witch Helena. Fighting Rain teams is a pretty good matchup for us because he's built to resist magical attacks and doesn't have that much accuracy in his base kit. But with the Fire Vision cards, they do have a card that gives some accuracy. So I've been surprised sometimes getting hit by jamming thrust that I expect to miss. But generally, it's a good matchup, unless we're very unlucky. And then, of course, when they're paired with Black Witch Helena, it's always an issue because of her AoE accuracy buff. It's not as reliable as guaranteed hit attacks, but it does mitigate her advantage quite a bit when she casts it, which she will probably do in this setup. Also, King Mont having bells is always an issue because he might decide to drop the Berserk, but he has to lend it, so we might be safe there. No blind on Rain, not sure if he's resistant to that or not. It's one of these status effects that I did not study because it just doesn't come in very often. But for the next class match, I'm going to have to study this and know who I can and cannot blind. So, Confusion on King Mont just before his turn, that's pretty great. No Berserk or Stun. And then, seems like Rain has a 0% chance to hit because he decides to go back and heal. And then Black Witch uses her own Darkened Focus. I'm not sure if she was already casting it or if she doesn't have any hit chance, but because that would be weird, considering the fact that she has some guaranteed hit attacks. Shadowlynx goes for the stop on the enemy Black Witch, but that cannot land because she's resistant to stop, so she's also a character that does very well against Shadowlynx. Now from the side, Rain actually has a chance to hit, so he decides to use his Limit Burst, and hits once, so I guess one of them landed. That's pretty good. Shadowlynx is out of AP. That's one of the issues of my build. It would be great if I could give her bells, but I want to run it on to B. And I want her to use her AoE buffs. That with bells, she would just run forward very early and not buff evasion. So she can only hit a couple times. That's not an issue if we're not fighting King Mont, but against very tanky characters, she runs out of AP and ends up doing a lot of basic attacks instead of high value stuff. So back to Shadow Tether, this time lands the stop, so the fight is basically won. There's no chance that Rain survives long enough to get another turn. So that's it, guys. Obviously, there is RNG in evasion, and if I were to run a fight against the same team 7 times, I might not get the same result every time. But so far, this has won me about 90% of my matches, and then against Black Witch Helena, King Mont, and Yuna, the strongest combo, I think, it's about a 60 to 40. So while not reliable, it does win more often than it loses. So yeah, hopefully you guys loved the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and then as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your week.